What if I told you that buying a cheap investment property could end up costing you more than you bargained for, literally? Meet Charles Corby, a Victorian investor who snagged a derelict duplex in regional Western Australia for just $69,000. Sounds like a steal, until a single lawn mow hits him with a $1,232 invoice. Wait, what? That's nearly 2% of the purchase price for a service most of us pay $150 to $250 for. This isn't just a funny story about overgrown grass. It's a window into the absurd realities of regional property investing. Let's unpack why this bill makes sense, why it's ridiculous, and what it reveals about the hidden costs of owning vacant land in Australia's bushfire zones. /N/N So here's the deal. Charles bought this duplex to renovate and split into 2 titles. But before he could even start, the Shire of Derby handed him a fire hazard notice. Grass had to be slashed to 50 millimeters or else, and he had 4 weeks to fix it. 4 weeks. That's not a lot of time when you're managing a property 3,000 kilometers away, right? Now, I get why councils enforce these rules. Bushfires are terrifying, especially in regional areas. But here's the kicker. The fine for non-compliance was $5,000. So Charles had no choice but to pay whatever it took. But $1,232? That's 4 to 5 times what Airtasker estimates for a similar job. What's going on here? /N/N Let's talk about regional versus urban dynamics. In cities, you've got a dozen trot eyes competing for your business. Not in Derby. When demand is high and supply is low, prices skyrocket. Charles mentions locals charging premiums because they can. And honestly, that makes sense. If you're the only contractor with a ride-on mower in a 100 kilometers radius, you're gonna price accordingly. But here's what bugs me. This expense was totally unexpected. He wasn't planning to spend 2% of his budget on lawn care before renovations even started. And that's the trap so many investors fall into. They focus on purchase price and renovation costs, but forget about the invisible expenses like this. /N/N What fascinates me most is the irony. The property cost less than a used car, yet the lawn bill alone could have bought a decent second-hand lawnmower. But think deeper. This highlights a systemic issue. Councils rightly prioritize public safety, but they're not accounting for the logistical nightmares of remote ownership. Imagine being a small investor trying to do the right thing, only to get slapped with costs that eat into your entire profit margin. And let's be real, this isn't just about grass. It's about who bears the cost of public safety. Should a single property owner have to front thousands to mitigate a risk that benefits the entire community? /N/N Charles' solution? He's now considering buying a mower to leave on-site or using local Facebook groups to find cheaper labor. Which makes me wonder, why didn't he plan for this up front? But here's the thing most investors don't. We're all guilty of underestimating maintenance until it bites us. And in regional areas, that bite's gonna leave a scar. This story isn't just a cautionary tale. It's a symptom of a bigger problem. As cities become unaffordable, more investors are eyeing regional markets. But they're not prepared for the unique headaches. Limited trot eyes, stricter regulations, and the sheer unpredictability of remote ownership. /N/N So here's my hot take. While I 100% support councils enforcing fire safety, there's a disconnect between policy and reality. If they're going to mandate these standards, they should also help owners meet them, subsidize services, create local maintenance programs, something. Otherwise, we're just punishing small investors who are already taking a risk on neglected properties. And honestly, isn't revitalizing regional housing a public good? What do you think? Is Charles just unlucky? Or is this the price of doing business in bushfire country? Drop your thoughts below, because this isn't just about one lawn bill. It's about how we balance safety, fairness, and opportunity in Australia's forgotten corners.